Okay, bear with me for a second, because this will blow your mind. What do all these things have in common? Counter-Strike, Portal, Garry's Mod, Steam, Team Fortress 2 and live service free-to-play multiplayer, 4-player co-op games, first-person shooters with an actual story in them, Skibidi freaking Toilet. All of these things can be directly traced to the existence of one game: Half-Life. But how can this game, which is now 25 years old by the way, be so influential for gaming and internet culture as a whole? Well, for starters, when it launched in 1998, it was a pretty awesome game. And for the most part, it still holds up today, because over 33,000 people were playing it concurrently on Steam 2 weeks ago on Sunday, which is the highest ever since 2012 at least. But what is it that made the game so awesome? To put it simply, innovation. In Half-Life, you play Dr. Gordon Freeman, and pretty unusual for shooters at the time, Freeman isn't a Marine or a mercenary or a fighter of any kind. He is a scientist. As part of that, the game starts on an underground train taking you to work where you are asked to do a simple task: put a sciencey thing in another sciencey thing. And then, oops, all hell breaks loose. For the first time in a first-person shooter, the narrative felt like it was important. Instead of showing you cutscenes between levels of mowing down hostile enemies, players were inside the cutscenes themselves. Scripted sequences would play all around you. Non-player scientists and security guards would react to your presence, follow you, help you, though mostly they would get devoured by horrible aliens. But it wasn't just gameplay that made Half-Life a household name. It was also its modding scene.
I seem to be wounded, but...
Yo, what's up?
Half-Life mods were something that the gaming community had never really seen before. This was possible because Valve released the Half-Life software development kit to the public and encouraged amateur devs to design their own maps and even make their own games, creating a modding scene that grew bigger than any other before. This one decision would lead to even more changes and innovation that shaped how people play games today. 1999. Valve, after hiring the developers of a popular Quake multiplayer mod, releases Team Fortress Classic. Only 2 years after its release, one of the multiplayer mods made with the Half-Life engine became so popular, Valve hired its creators and released it as a product. That was Counter-Strike, one of the most successful multiplayer games of all time, with sequels that became legendary in the esports world. Riding this success, Valve launched Steam in 2003. At first, it was just a platform for updating Valve's games, but starting from 2008, it allowed other developers to sell their titles on its marketplace too, and it became the giant that it is today. And then, in 2004, Half-Life 2 changed the first-person shooter paradigm again. Its source engine could simulate physics, opening up endless possibilities for level and puzzle design, as well as causing absolute mayhem. 2 years later, Facepunch Studios, led by Garry Newman, released the legendary Garry's Mod, built with the Half-Life source engine. Using the engine's physics, players can spawn in objects, props, and NPCs, manipulating and posing them however they want. Thousands of mods and hundreds of game modes were spawned, along with, naturally, millions of memes. Garry's Mod, along with Roblox and Second Life, is now thought of as one of the internet's first expressions of, behold, the Metaverse. Other Valve games built with Half-Life's innovative engines went on to become some of the most influential games of all time. In 2007, Portal was released, and its cutting-edge puzzle gameplay that uses the physics of the source engine made it into an instant classic. Also released in 2007, Team Fortress 2 changed the landscape of multiplayer first-person shooters forever. How? Well, Team Fortress 2 eventually adopted a free-to-play microtransaction model that kind of became the norm for this genre.
And the game award goes to, oh man, I have to pay a microtransaction to unlock.
Left 4 Dead, another instant classic, was released in 2008. This game is so influential because it basically invented the 4-player versus environment format, which was used by games like Warhammer Vermintide, Rainbow Six Extraction, Warhammer 40k Darktide, Back 4 Blood, and Deep Rock Galactic. What do these games have in common? Because of the 4-player versus environment format, they all became huge streaming hits. And you're still not convinced that Half-Life is still relevant in 2023? Well, I am sorry, but if you haven't heard of Skibidi Toilets, it's about time you do. Skibidi Toilets is a web series published on YouTube that chronicles the conflict between singing human-headed toilets, the Skibidi Toilets, and humans with CCTV cameras, speakers, and televisions for heads. What's interesting is that the series is created by an amateur animator using nothing less than assets from Half-Life 2, Garry's Mod, and Source Filmmaker, a free 3D computer graphics software, also published by Valve. Generation Alpha loves it. Everyone older than that is confused and horrified, but hey, from modding to cult memes and now Skibidi Toilets, the internet remains the internet. 25 years have passed and we're still talking about Half-Life. Why? Because what Half-Life has given gaming and the internet is nothing short of amazing. As part of the 25th anniversary celebrations, Valve released a 1-hour documentary on Half-Life's development, which is a great watch if you want to know more. And who knows, maybe when the 30th rolls around, the game will be credited with spawning something else. Let's just hope it's not more sentient toilets.